Grammar. This word scares even the most committed student. It is a nightmare for most of the learners. I think the reason many people hate grammar is because they have had bad experiences learning a foreign language in school where they were force-fed grammar rules and drills for the sake of learning grammar. And this makes people even hate language learning. Now, most people think that language learning has to be boring and hard because of all those exercises and activities we were forced to do. But language learning should be fun. I see grammar almost as a game, because the way polyglots learn is fun. So what people dislike is how grammar is taught rather than hating grammar itself. This is important to note because this traditional approach will become boring and feel meaningless, and it can kill your motivation. So it is more a matter of perspective. Grammar is your great friend. As Benny Lewis, the Irish polyglot, says, I see grammar as the rules of how to tidy up your language. But they are simply not useful if you don't have something to tidy up. As such, I highly recommend learning grammar in small doses as a beginner learner. But once you're around the intermediate stage or have been exposed to the language for some time, knowing the grammar patterns is the quickest way to achieving fluency. Learning one new grammar pattern can instantly add a lot of possibilities to what is available for you to say. But don't get me wrong, don't focus on it too much. Just consult it when you have some knowledge and exposure time to the language. Then it is going to help you a lot. And there are effective ways to learn grammar without getting frustrated. Having fun. 1. Make it a goal to learn grammar in context. Don't just learn the grammar rules as if they were math equations that you memorize and put together. Doing this will lead you to think too much when you speak and perhaps sound a bit like a robot. It is my opinion that you're better off speaking naturally and fluently than speaking with perfect grammar. 2. Remember the Pareto equation and learn the most frequent grammar structures first. Depending on your goals, say you are only learning the language to speak it, then you will only need a small part of the grammar. 3. Learn grammar from the language, not the language from the grammar. Don't make it a priority. Skip it and come back to it when you need it. 4. Knowledge of grammar is not crucial. You can speak without learning grammar per se. If you hate it, try to enjoy it. If you still hate it, spend a little time with it. If you still hate it, forget about it and don't even study grammar. Because even though it's very useful, you don't have to study grammar to speak the language. Native speakers don't learn the grammar of their own languages until much later in life. They learned it in school, and we all know that they can speak before that. 5. Knowing about grammar and being able to use it in your speech are different things. Not only words and phrases, but also grammar is best learned out in the field through conversations with native speakers. But the REM method is very effective at helping you learn grammar subconsciously. 6. No teacher can probably explain grammar to you better than a simple grammar book. Just do your research on the internet and buy the book of your choice. I don't recommend doing grammar drills and exercises, but if it is your thing and you benefit from it, of course go for it. The question then is not if we should learn the grammar, but how we should learn it. Vocabulary. It is true that vocabulary is the most popular concept in language learning. Maybe it's because a language basically consists of vocabulary, lots of words. So it is important to understand how memory works and how to learn vocabulary. This is the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. Every day you forget an important amount of what you learned unless you review them regularly. It simply shows us the importance of repetition. If you don't review the same material, you will forget at least 20% of what you learned by the next day. This is why you should shadow the exact same material for at least 10 days. This is what makes REM method an effective one. Also, if you use the REM method in your learning journey, it forces information deeper into your brain without you making deliberate efforts. By just repeating the same shadowing activity every day, you'll learn without even noticing that you learned, because it is similar to the natural learning process. Methods used by polyglots to learn vocabulary. Now I will further discuss some other methods used by polyglots to effectively learn vocabulary. Lists. This is an age-old technique. You write down words you learned on a piece of paper or nowadays on your smartphone, and then review them regularly and try to use them in sentences when the opportunity arises. A list is an effective tool if you review it often. I highly recommend writing down every single word you learn, or write it on your phone, but review those words and try to use them in your conversations. British polyglot David James uses an improved version of this. It's called the gold list method. What you do is cover the words on your list and try to copy them onto the right-hand side of the list without looking. For the words you can easily copy without looking, you don't need to review those words again for some time, and just concentrate on the words you still don't know. This makes the list less time-consuming and incorporates writing into your reviewing. If you are into these kinds of exercises, Google Gold List method for more details. Just listen and watch. I don't study vocabulary. After I reached the threshold level, I just learned from watching videos and films. And there are a few polyglots who do the same. Tim Donor, 19-year-old polyglot, says he learns vocabulary from films and literature. It is much more fun this way. But I still write down all the new vocabulary I learn through films and my interactions with people. And this is crucial to really learn those words, because you need to review them and use them the next time. Otherwise you'll forget them. Flashcards. This is a very common method amongst learners. Some polyglots even use it as well. There is a flashcard app called Anki advocated by Benny Lewis. On the app, you review a set of words one by one on regular intervals. It is mobile-friendly and convenient. I tried it, but I don't find it so much fun, and not very effective, because most of the time they don't have audio, and I think learning through audio is faster and helps you use the word in your conversations better. Mnemonics. This is a visual learning technique in which you break words into easy-to-remember syllables, and then for each part of the word you come up with a unique association. Since the mind has an ability to store uncommon images much easier, these images must be bizarre and funny. And then, having paired each word with its visual equivalent, you make a visual story using all of these images. Some polyglots use it, and others don't like it. For me, it's too time-consuming to come up with imaginations that stick, and I don't think it's easy to remember those when you try to speak. But if you are interested in it, there are a variety of courses on it on the internet. Tips for learning vocabulary. 1. Interest is the key to learning faster. Learn from things you would enjoy in your own language. After achieving the threshold level, as I defined earlier in the levels section, don't watch or read something just for the sake of learning vocabulary. It won't work. Focus on your interests. 2. Learn words in context, in sentences, never isolated. This is very important. First, a word can mean different things in different contexts. And secondly, whenever you learn a new word, you're thinking of it in the field of your mother tongue. You think that the usage would be the same just because it seems like the same word, but you say things differently in every language. Very simple example. In English, we say last night, as in, I ate ice cream last night. But in French, they say yesterday night instead of last night, so it becomes J'ai mangé de la glace hier soir. So never make word lists without the sentences. It will also speed up your learning because if you learn words in sentences, you get to learn many words at once. 3. Learn vocabulary through audio materials. If your purpose is to speak the language, then learning vocabulary through audio materials will be very useful. Learning from books should come later when you have developed a higher level of pronunciation skills. When you reach the threshold point, you are going to be more comfortable with the language, and it is going to be easy to pick up new vocabulary, new expressions, through simple listening and through interactions with natives. And you can guess the meanings of the words from context, so you can also learn new words just by listening a lot. 4. Don't make a big deal out of vocabulary. If the word is important, it will come up very frequently, so don't stress yourself trying to learn everything at once. If you are reading something or watching a film, don't look up every word you don't know. It is the best way to ruin the fun. Think critically and try to pull from context clues. You might feel like you don't understand everything, but it's okay.